Law enforcement veteran and author of The Missing Ledger, Daniel Pierce, along with his dedicated team from Project Vanish, has spent decades delving into thousands of mysterious disappearances across North America's remote wilderness. Many of these baffling cases share striking similarities, odd coincidences, and inexplicable patterns that challenge conventional explanations. Pierce's investigations were sparked by an encounter with two retired wilderness wardens who recounted stories of people vanishing without a trace amid the vast expanses of our national parks. In this account, we turn our attention to a series of disappearances within the Redwood Highlands National Preserve, a sprawling, enigmatic landscape located on the border of Oregon and California. With its dense, ancient forests and fog-shrouded ridges, this preserve hides secrets in every shadow and glen. All of the sources referenced for these chilling events are carefully documented and linked below. The Redwood Highlands National Preserve is renowned as one of the most frequented natural sanctuaries in the western United States, drawing over 12 million visitors every year, outstripping the combined totals of parks such as Glacier, Zion, and Acadia. Established in 1932, this vast preserve sprawls across millions of acres filled with towering redwoods, meandering streams, and misty valleys. Locals refer to the area as the Red Shroud because the pervasive low-lying fog lends it an eerie, almost spectral quality. The disappearance of Matthew Langston. In the spring of 1984, 23-year-old Matthew Langston, a bright college student hailing from Ashland, Oregon, set out for what was meant to be an adventurous spring break with two of his closest friends, Paul DeWitt and Jason Callahan. The trio, all studying engineering at Southern Oregon University, were known for their spirited camaraderie and thirst for exploration. They planned a challenging expedition along the rugged Sierra Crest Trail, beginning their journey at Alder Creek Ranger Station, a remote outpost at the northern edge of the preserve. Their route would take them on a grueling 19-mile trek that involved an astonishing vertical gain of nearly 5,000 feet over rocky, unforgiving terrain. Despite having done some preliminary research, the group underestimated the ferocity of the elements. The day of their departure, April 10th, started with overcast skies that quickly darkened, and by mid-morning, relentless driving rain had pounded the lower elevations. At higher altitudes, the temperature plummeted and heavy snow began to accumulate as a severe windstorm had just left a trail of debris and broken branches in its wake. Shortly after passing the modest shelter at Wolf Hollow, Jason, who had been visibly shivering and growing fatigued, concluded that he could no longer press on. With a heavy heart, he turned back towards safety, leaving Matthew and Paul to continue on their own. The two friends battled through the worsening conditions, their faces etched with both determination and trepidation. By the time they reached Grizzly Pass, the daylight was nearly gone, and the storm raged with unyielding intensity. It was during this desperate hour that Matthew began showing unmistakable signs of hypothermia. His speech became slurred, and his once steady gait turned unsteady. In a moment of despair, Matthew complained that his burdensome backpack was weighing him down. In a decision that would haunt the investigation, he abandoned his pack along the trail, a detail that struck many as odd given the perilous nature of their journey. Despite his weakening state, the duo pressed on, arriving at Iron Ridge around 7:30 p.m. The twilight painted the jagged peaks in hues of deep blue and black, and a biting wind howled through the narrow passes. At this point, Paul took the lead, urging Matthew to muster every last reserve of strength. However, by 9 p.m., Matthew's energy had completely evaporated, and he collapsed in the snow, leaving Paul in a state of profound panic. Desperate, Paul ventured ahead toward the Alpine shelter, just 300 yards away, in hopes of securing assistance. When morning broke, Paul returned with a full-scale search party, but no trace of Matthew could be found. The area bore no footprints or disturbances aside from the abandoned backpack, which remained exactly where he had dropped it. It wasn't until 6 long days later, on April 16th, that Matthew's body was discovered lying against a tree by a meandering creek. His open coat, removed gloves, and boots, a scenario reminiscent of paradoxical undressing, offered grim evidence that hypothermia had taken its toll. This case continues to puzzle experts. How did Matthew manage to traverse such treacherous ground in his weakened state? And what of the faint, haunting cry that Paul later claimed to have heard on that fateful night? Was it merely the echo of a dying man's delirium, or did it hint at something far more sinister? The vanishing of Heather Collins. On a crisp autumn day, September 12, 2019, 54-year-old Heather Collins embarked on a leisurely hike in the Redwood Highlands Preserve accompanied by her 22-year-old son, Dylan. Their destination was Falcons Lookout, a renowned vantage point offering breathtaking panoramic views of the surrounding wilderness. The day was filled with the warm glow of an early fall sun, and the trail was bustling with visitors enjoying the crisp weather and vibrant colors of changing leaves. Heather, a seasoned hiker with decades of experience, had always preferred a slower pace to absorb the natural beauty around her. That afternoon, as they neared the observation tower at Falcons Lookout, Dylan, driven by youthful exuberance, decided to jog ahead, eager to explore the summit. Confident that they would soon reconvene, Heather lingered behind, planning to rest and eventually meet him at the designated parking area. However, as the hours passed and the shadow of dusk crept over the preserve, Heather never reappeared. Dylan's initial assumption, that they had merely become separated, quickly gave way to growing alarm. He retraced their steps along the well-worn path, only to find that any sign of his mother had vanished. With a mounting sense of dread, he contacted park authorities, initiating a massive search operation. Over the next week, more than 200 trained search and rescue personnel from 5 different states combed the rugged terrain. Helicopters, equipped with cutting-edge thermal imaging cameras, soared over the canopy, while drones buzzed low to capture any movement from above. Even scent dogs were deployed in an effort to catch any trace of Heather's lingering presence. Despite these exhaustive measures, the search teams could find no clues, only the relentless fog and driving rain, which reduced visibility to a few yards and turned the task into a nearly impossible mission. Then, on September 20th, Heather's body was eventually discovered hidden deep within a thicket along Echo Gorge, a secluded ravine situated 2 miles west of the parking lot and nearly a mile south of the main Sierra Crest Trail. The autopsy later confirmed that she had succumbed to hypothermia, the result of prolonged exposure to near-freezing temperatures and disorienting weather. But this conclusion left many unanswered questions. Why had a seasoned hiker like Heather wandered so far off the known path? Had she become disoriented by the treacherous conditions, or was there an unknown force at work, leading her into the labyrinth of the Redwood Highlands? The haunting mystery of her disappearance continues to evoke both sorrow and speculation among those who study these unexplained events. The strange case of Liam Porter. On a seemingly ordinary spring day, March 14th, 1994, 14-year-old Liam Porter embarked on what was supposed to be a memorable family outing. He was hiking with his parents, Joel and Sandra, as well as several close family friends at Crystal Falls, a popular yet serene attraction along the Sentinel Ridge Trail. Known for its gentle terrain and picturesque views, Crystal Falls was a favorite spot for locals seeking a respite from urban life. As the day unfolded, the atmosphere was one of light-hearted adventure and family bonding. Liam, full of youthful energy and curiosity, was particularly excited by the prospect of exploring the hidden nooks of the trail. However, sometime in the late afternoon, an unsettling silence descended over the group. In the midst of laughter and shared stories, Liam suddenly disappeared without a trace. No one heard a cry for help, nor was there any evidence to suggest that he had fallen or encountered any immediate danger. Panic set in immediately. The family and friends frantically began searching the well-marked trails and adjacent clearings, calling out his name in hopes of eliciting a response. As the search expanded, it attracted the attention of local authorities. Military personnel from Fort Lewis, Washington, were quickly mobilized, and several helicopters equipped with infrared sensors were dispatched to scan the dense canopy. More than 180 seasoned backcountry experts soon joined the effort, combing through every crevice of the rugged landscape. Despite the overwhelming response, no sign of Liam was found for 7 agonizing days. It wasn't until the searchers scoured a narrow ravine near the base of an 80 to 100-foot waterfall on an unnamed tributary that his small, fragile body was finally discovered. Shockingly, he had traveled uphill a remarkable 1,700 feet in elevation from where he was last seen, an anomaly that defied common expectations of lost hikers who typically drift downhill. The local authorities ruled his death to be the result of a fatal head injury compounded by multiple traumas, yet no autopsy was performed. This lack of a thorough forensic examination left many unanswered questions, fueling further speculation about the true circumstances of his disappearance. How did a teenager in such a vulnerable state manage to ascend the treacherous terrain? And why was an autopsy bypassed when it might have revealed crucial clues? The disappearance of Margaret "Maggie" Allen. On a cool October afternoon, precisely on October 3rd, 1983, 59-year-old Margaret Allen, affectionately known as Maggie by those who knew her well, set out on a routine walk along the familiar Whispering Pines Trail within the Redwood Highlands National Preserve. Maggie was a seasoned hiker, having traversed these trails countless times over the past 2 decades. That day, she had planned a quiet walk with several close friends, savoring the crisp air and the calming sounds of rustling leaves and distant bird calls. The group started their hike at a leisurely pace, chatting about old memories and future plans as they moved along the well-trodden path. However, as they rounded a gentle curve near a small rise, something inexplicable happened. Maggie simply vanished from sight. Her friends, initially assuming she had picked up a faster pace, soon realized that she was nowhere to be found. The silence that followed was unsettling. No shouts, no sounds of distress, just an eerie absence where a vibrant presence had once been. Panic and confusion quickly replaced the casual mood. The friends retraced their steps, scanning the area meticulously, yet there was no sign of Maggie. No footprints, no discarded items, nothing to suggest she had taken a different route. A full-scale search was initiated, involving over 140 park personnel and multiple scent tracking dogs. Despite these intensive efforts, the only clue was a faint, lingering scent near a downed tree, where she might have briefly paused. The investigation revealed that Maggie was a physically imposing figure, nearly 6 feet tall and weighing over 170 pounds, making it highly improbable that she could have been abducted or overwhelmed by natural forces without leaving clear evidence. Yet, no trace of her was ever recovered. The absence of any struggle marks, coupled with the pristine condition of the surrounding area, left both authorities and the community baffled. Some speculated whether Maggie might have intentionally vanished, but no motive or evidence ever emerged to support such a theory. To this day, the disappearance of Maggie Allen remains one of the most perplexing mysteries of the Redwood Highlands, a case that continues to haunt the memories of those who witnessed that fateful day. What do these cases suggest? Are they simply tragic accidents amplified by the harsh and unforgiving wilderness? Or do they hint at forces beyond our understanding? The lingering questions, the eerie coincidences, and the unexplained phenomena in each case force us to consider the possibility that something truly otherworldly may be at work in the heart of the Redwood Highlands National Preserve. If these expanded stories captivate your imagination or raise more questions than answers, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights and theories might help shed light on these baffling disappearances. For more in-depth investigations and updates on similar cases, consider subscribing to the channel and supporting our ongoing research. A heartfelt thank you to all our patrons who make these explorations possible. Stay safe, and until next time, peace.